Hey, this is a podcast. No, wait, it's a comedy podcast. Well, we tried to make it a comedy podcast, and it's not meant to offend anyone. So don't get offended, okay? And wait, there's something else. Oh, yeah, yeah. Listener discretion is advised.
Audiomatic presents Our Last Week.
Hi, Kunal.
Hey, Pal.
How are you, Kunal?
I'm okay. I'm a little bit, I think I've got the flu or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not like a more, like an older disease, like cholera or.
An ancient thing.
Yeah, yeah. Are you sure you don't have syphilis or.
Polio has made a comeback or something, no? In New York.
Polio is having a moment. Polio, because see, I think the good thing about COVID is it brought back a lot of, things that we thought that we had cured. Respiratory things and smallpox and in the time of Akbar, you could die of various things. No, you could die of not drinking water, washing your hands.
You could die of a cavity also. As in, you could die of a toothache.
Yeah. You had a little cut, you could die.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone's ever Googled this? Things you could die of in the reign of Akbar.
I'm sure that it has been Googled, but I doubt that all information about this would be available.
It won't be all the right information.
Yeah.
So I just Googled it. Things you could die of in the reign of Akbar. But all you get is the death of Emperor Akbar, which is not that good.
No. But I like that diseases are like fashion, na, in a way. Like they come around. Like they just they have this circularity about them.
Yeah, like when the British were big in India, malaria was ruling.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, more than beating the Mughals, the British had to beat malaria.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the bigger enemy.
Right. Could you die of a headache?
You could die of a headache. I mean, I've had school teachers and university teachers who were so boring that I felt like I wanted to die. Like I lived, but what I lived for was not as much fun. If I had died, it would have been better. So do you have a headache that feels like you're going to die? It could just be this podcast.
That's what I was trying to figure, because it wasn't that bad just before we started, but it's actually gotten worse.
Yeah.
So,
and the thing is that for years you felt this way, but you didn't actually have a name for it. You didn't know what to attribute this to. Now you know it's the podcast. Now you know.
So you're saying that in the current, the 21st century, you could die of a podcast is basically what we're saying.
You could die because a podcast that you do, that you do yourself, gives you a terrible headache and you die.
And you die. Death by podcast. I'm just trying to figure that, because I'm shooting in different parts of the city, quite one of the distant suburbs, and I think that I'm trying to find what I think every area, every region has its own happening disease. Like malaria was big at one point in certain places in Bombay. Dengue was a big thing in South Bombay at one point.
But dengue is still, I don't know how do we pronounce it? Is it dengue, dengue, dengue? What's the right way to do it?
Or is it just deng?
It's just deng. It's like a Chinese premier. It's just deng.
Yeah. And then they have specialized doctors also for it, called Dr. Deng.
Dr. Deng. And we could make a terrible joke and say you could go to, it's a franchise, so you could go to Dr. Deng, any of them.
Yeah, that's true.
For people to understand this, they would need to know that Dr. Deng is a villain of a film.
Yeah.
And in that film, he has an echo as a villain.
Deng,
these, deng. But I've always thought it must be difficult for a villain to have his own echo, in life. If everything you said had an echo, that would be problematic, no?
No, because you don't want the echo at certain times. Na? Pass me the salt, 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 salt. It's just like,
Salt.
it's not.
Yeah. Everything doesn't require emphasis. But how
where is
painful
the
it
strip of selling? It's like you don't want to. You don't want certain things, Who left the pot seat?
I can see a newspaper headline. Actor Kunal Roy Kapoor being followed by his own echo.
Yeah.
He's very annoyed by it. He wants some help. His own echo is following him.
Kunal Roy Kapoor goes in for surgery to remove echo.
Yeah. And you can't give interviews also because it'll annoy you, right? It'll be like, I've been trying to tell them.
Yeah.
I don't need an echo.
Hi, welcome to The Break.
Yeah.
We are now listener supported.
We're supported by listeners.
Support us.
Please.
Help us get up in the morning.
Yeah. So in order to support us, please go to patreon.com/our last week and subscribe.
You get a free episode. You get cool merch. And you get us to participate in your life by coming to your ears.
Yeah.
Is the
Not
grammar-
house.
Not house.
No.
No sensible listener of Our Last Week has a house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in case you don't subscribe, you should go to Patreon/our last week and subscribe. There are two options there, $5 and $2, and you get many different benefits.
Me doing dirty voices.
Those are avoidable, but you get that.
Please subscribe.
Please do. Patreon.com/our last week.
Is this voice better?
No.
I thought
Creepy.
this is
It's creepy. It's creepy.
So, okay.
Don't scare people.
Sorry.
Kunal, I'm in the UK, the United Kingdom.
United
here for
Kingdom.
shows, as I usually am, some few months of the year. And the Gloria Regina, Latin for the glorious queen, has died. She has died at the age of 96 and she has passed away. And various people have gone to Buckingham Palace to pay their respects and so on. Now, I have a conundrum around mourning, how to mourn, how to grieve. And my conundrum is this, that everybody, first day that she passed away on Twitter, said, I'll do anything for the Queen because I'm so, she meant so much to me, I'm so close to her. Whatever the government decides is the period of mourning, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. I would like to grieve because she has been a constant in my life. Lots of people said this on Twitter. And then immediately when actual things started happening, when, say, some people said, we're cancelling the theatre, we're cancelling film shoots, we're cancelling comedy. Suddenly artists were like, this is ridiculous. How are they deciding how we're going to mourn? We will mourn. How can you cancel my work? I was supposed to make £75 tonight and you've cancelled it. This is not what the Queen stood for. So people then, so I've realized mourning is fine as long as it doesn't affect your day-to-day schedule. I want your view on that. Do you think mourning is a private thing or a public thing? Because it seems like the public are not willing to participate in anything that requires them to mourn by force. They are not up for any forced mourning, or they're not even up for any light cancellation to their schedule. But they say they are mourning.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about mourning and all that stuff because I'm if the state dictates that it's a day of mourning or a week of mourning or whatever it is, that's fine. But I don't think. I mean, obviously, you can't enforce this on people, right? I mean, and especially when it has, when it, and say it is a 8-year-old's birthday party, or like a 5-year-old's birthday party. Now, as in, are you not supposed to have fun on that day? Like, are you supposed to tell that child that, listen, I'm sorry, but we can't celebrate anything. Your birthday, it can't be celebrated. or whatever, or that you've aced a test, or you've done very well at taekwondo, or whatever, something that's given you joy.
Because a very famous old lady has passed away.
But what do I care? That's fine.
Yeah,
It's like, it's my birthday, yeah. As in, and so and if that 5-year-old felt a connection with the queen, and she or he chooses to mourn, then so be it. But I think that in case you want to enforce it, then you should have to start paying people to mourn.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, so I'm saying that, like, see, if you're telling me that don't smile today, please, today no smiling. So I'm saying that now you're asking a service of me. So as soon as you're asking me to change my behavior, then there should be some monetary gain at least for me.
Yeah. Like how in COVID you couldn't go to work, but the government said, here is some money. Like rich governments gave people,
Of course,
individuals, cash.
Correct.
So it's like this. So say the queen has passed away, and you are going to, say, maybe lose work or cancel some fun. You're saying there should be a government compulsory monetary mourning compensation.
Of course. And I think that, they should have a budget for it. That, listen, we need more mourners because, only so many people are mourning. And I think that it would be nicer.
Yeah.
The queen would have liked more mourners. So, so they should spend on it. And they should, just like loosen the purse strings and buy some more mourners. Because I don't think that it should be demanded of people.
No. And I think that if you say that per citizen will get £200 to mourn, then if stuff gets cancelled, like whatever your plans were for the night, you can still carry on. Now, I have a question going back to your 8-year-old, which is, do you think that the question should be posed to the 8-year-old? Like, she should be asked, this old lady had died, she ruled, a large part of the world. This is her history. This is who she is. You're 8, you may not know the queen, but we all know the queen for these reasons. Do you want to mourn or not mourn? Like, should we ask the 8-year-old also, or the 5-year-old who says, Mama, I don't want to cancel my birthday party? Should we check with them also, or no? What's your view?
I think it'll be too much information too soon. It's like saying it's putting too much pressure. It's like, like you're giving me all this information suddenly on the day of my birthday and saying, do you, like, I don't know enough about this. I'm not
ready for this.
You're pushing me into a corner, This is not on.
Kunal.
Yes.
My AC caught fire, in the middle of the monsoons.
As it does.
And my AC repair guy, let's call him Samir because, that's his name. And he's quiet, he's efficient, he's ruthless. If you message him saying AC kharab ho gaya, he writes back right away and says 5 o'clock. He just tells you the time he'll be there, Like, he's like a mean machine, and the AC is done, and then he asks you for money. He's a solid guy. Now, this time when he was repairing my AC, but he'd come with 2 helpers. He always comes with helpers. And I've seen over the years, the sort of more powerful he's got, the more and more helpers he has.
As his tonnage has increased.
Yeah, exactly. As he has taken on more tonnage. And I always thought that, he used to stare at his phone, and I thought that maybe he was telling the guys what to do, and his phone had like instructions on like what's going on inside the AC. Like, he was learning, constantly evolving, as an engineer and stuff. But then the other day I saw that he was looking at porn on his phone while the helpers were helping. Now my question is that, do you think it's better, like in Samir's case, to once you get that inkling, that sort of instinct that someone has figured out you're watching porn? Because Samir saw me watching him watch porn, right? And he quickly, pulled out one more app on his phone, pretended like he was doing something else. And say you do the same thing at work, whatever. You pretend like you close the file or whatever, the website. Is it almost better to admit, it's It's almost better to say, sir, मैं देख रहा था, मैं pornography देख रहा था.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think we should own it?
No. There's no way.
What will happen? What will happen?
There's no proper way to own, like the content you're watching. I mean, sometimes the other stuff you're watching is almost more embarrassing than the porn, and I think that it's
You're saying that if my AC guy was watching a YouTube video on how to repair ACs,
yeah,
that's far worse.
I think it's worse. What if he was watching something that had to do with something like like what we discussed last time, like horses' hooves being cleaned, unboxing of some toys, Kinder Joy, this thing, some Pokemon card ratings, as in like he's watching some random shit, and you catch him watching some just garbage. It's as embarrassing for me. I think that now we've come to a stage where whether it's porn or whether it is oh god, he's got a knitting fetish, he just loves watching people knit, or he's just watching toes wiggle all day, whatever, it's something strange.
You watch car washing, right?
I watch a lot of car detailing, whatever they call it. There's a lot of makeovers, car makeovers, where they find dirty old cars and then they wash them. I watch a lot of carpets being cleaned. So I'm saying now this stuff is far more. Imagine someone just watching me, and it would go around the industry like, do you know that guy Kunal? He all day he just watches carpets being cleaned. I'm saying that's worse, because it's much worse than me watching porn, because porn everybody watches.
Like my obsession, CCTV footage of lower court hearings in India.
Now imagine if someone saw you watching that,
Yeah.
It would be worse.
And I actually watch it like pornography because it's a bit shameful.
Yeah.
So I hide the phone, I curl up, and I watch it. Yeah.
So that's
now
what I'm saying.
my question is, my last point on this is, do you think it could be that my AC guy is so good at repairing ACs that he's like, I don't need to brush up on this shit. I'm just going to watch porn. Do you think some of it is that also? Like, he's such a subject matter expert,
right?
That
he doesn't need to know.
He's like the Buddha of the subject. Like, what more? He's enlightened. So now I'm just going to use my time watching porn, like downtime.
What if he's watching AC porn? Like that.
Yeah, and like basically two people having sex in a very cold, and it's all AC related.
See,
the AC breaks down.
AC breaks down. AC repairman. All of that. But I'm saying worse than that. Worse than that is two ACs having sex.
Yeah, that's good also. That's good.
Like a carrier is having sex with an O general. You know what I'm saying? Like there's two.
I feel like that's something we would totally watch.
Like their pipes are all mixed up, and one guy's like, like one guy's compressor is going into the other one's exhaust and all that stuff. And he's like getting his kicks out of just watching AC pornography. Who knows? Yeah.
Listen, I'm getting turned on just hearing about it.
I've gone to a chemist store and I'm just buying some Saradon or whatever it is. And the guy behind, he's a perfectly good chemist. He recommends good things, whatever. But he happened to be watching something.
He could be watching two kinds of porn. One porn where they're about to get together, but the guy's like, listen, I have to run out. I need my crocin.
Yeah.
So he's watching a kind of porn where he's the hero of the story.
Right.
So the lady's waiting. He runs to the pharmacy. He says, crocin though. And the guy gives it quickly. And he runs. He has the crocin. And then he makes love brilliantly. So somehow he's the hero of the tale. I can see how the pharmacist would be the center of that kind of pornography.
Yeah. Or he's just that guy in the background while two other people are making out, but the pharmacist is the one who's provided them with the, the stuff. So it could be so many things.
It could also be, like you said, two small bits of Jelusil making love.
Yeah.
Which is weird as hell, but also brilliant because I expect nothing else to live in your mind but such things.
Like how children used to play and they used to play with like different things and then they start fighting and then suddenly they start making out with these dolls. But I'm saying that a pharmacist would do that with like cough syrup and Dalcolax or whatever, and those things would be like kind of fighting, and
Those are his dirty thoughts.
those are his dirty
Like,
thoughts.
what happens if I mix a indigestion syrup with a cough syrup?
Yeah.
Let's see where it goes. How dirty will it get?
Yeah.
Kunal,
Yes.
I have a remembrance conundrum.
Okay.
I did a Zoom meeting with a friend of mine,
Okay.
with the head of a big Bombay theatre. And we were planning to, book the theatre and do some comedy shows.
Okay.
And the guy, the boss guy of the theatre, he had a lovely call with the two of us. And a week later, my friend went in for a meeting with him
Okay.
on a different matter. Okay. And the boss theatre guy, didn't recognize my friend at all. He didn't recognize his face, he didn't recognize his voice. And I told my friend, did you mention that we were on a Zoom call a week before? He's like, no, I didn't want to mention. I thought that maybe he'll bring it up. This was like Memento or Gajni. Like the whole memory of the other thing did not exist in his head.
Right.
And I don't know if he was, like my friend was saying, he wasn't sure if the theatre boss was fucking with him or he really didn't remember him. But my friend had to reintroduce himself.
Right.
And sort of insert new information into his memory. And my question is that, just so that in the future this thing doesn't happen to me, how do I remain memorable from a meeting? What should I do when I meet someone for the first time? And if the information I'm giving them is not interesting enough, if what I'm proposing in my life is not interesting to them, how do I remain in their memory?
See, people try many different things, right? Like people try to dress a certain way and make an impression. They try to smell a certain way so that, okay, I'm going to remember this person. So that's what all your clothes, your exterior appearance, your facial hair, many people try it with their general physicality, but many people don't have they don't give that much importance, and they try and go down the conversation route. So maybe my conversation is going to be engaging, maybe my stories. I find that generally if you tell like a very weird anecdote or a very weird story, it generally leaves an impression, because if it's something
something that may not even have a clear conclusion, like a good or bad conclusion,
right? And I'm saying that it doesn't, and it should very rarely have to do with the meeting. It has nothing to do with and doesn't necessarily even have to do with you, but it can be an anecdote, it could be an observation, it could be where you just came from, what you just ate. That's why people get into this little chatter before, but it can't just be mindless chatter. It has to be chatter that's that's like, this person is definitely going to say, shit, this guy, he came and he told me this story.
I'll give you an example and tell me if you think this is memorable enough, right? So let us say I go for a meeting with a production house, okay? And they said, I hope you didn't have any difficulty in finding this place. And I'll say, no, I found this place fine. And they said, I know we're a little high, we're on the 14th floor. I said, yeah, that's fine, 14th floor is no problem. But, I took the other lift. And they're like, yeah. The lifts in this building are really good. And then I just say, in 1974, in a building like this, my uncle got stuck in a lift. And he was in that lift for 7-8 hours, and then he suffocated to death. And anyway, let's talk about the script. So do you think that's enough? Like, because they asked how I came, I mentioned it. I went into a random story about my uncle dying in a lift, but they'll remember me, right? Because they're like, or every time they're in a lift, they'll think of my uncle.
Yeah, that's possible. But see, I think that the risk that you run when you're telling like a completely obscure story is about whether how you want the meeting to, like, what is the outcome that you want. Like if you intend to work with these people, or if you intend, because sometimes if the story is too obscure or too morbid or too disturbing, and any story can be to anyone, that's the risk you run, is that you might lose the gig. Then the whole point of that meeting only might. So you will be remembered, but you will be remembered as in someone who not to work with. So that
like
is the slight
slightly
risk.
mad person. As like a little bit of a mad person. That could, like, for example, if if they are seeing you, let's say they're choosing between 3 people for a crypto ad, right? And they're like, so Kunal, do you have any questions, thoughts? We're ready to sign the contract. And you go into a 10-minute conversation about gardening.
Or horse meat.
Or horse meat. Horse, different kinds of ways to cook horse meat.
I'm saying that, have you tried labor case? I'm saying like that's I'm asking them, let's. So
they are not expecting you to talk about horse meat.
No.
And then that gets tricky, because then they're like, so kaisa laga Kunal ka audition? He's like, audition was fine. But he's into horses, too much into horses. Now in India, we say that he's too much into something.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to really say is this guy's a bit mad.
Yeah.
What they're saying is this person is a crazy, batshit crazy lunatic. Never hire him.
Yeah.
But they're like, he's good. But, he's got, he's deep into, this horse thing, If my friend had been on that Zoom call, okay, and he had a bird on his shoulder, okay, then the guy would have remembered him 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if the work would have progressed.
Yeah.
Because then the big theatre guy would be like, do I want to work with a guy who has a bird on his shoulder all the time? I mean, I remember him. Of course I remember him. Because say if he was on Zoom with a small parrot or cockatoo on his shoulder. And then he went to the meeting also to the theatre with that bird on his shoulder. The guy would definitely remember him, right? It wouldn't be like this, that he left no impression. It wouldn't be like that.
Yeah. No,
But then it gets into a different area, right?
It goes into a different zone. So that's what I'm saying. It is a tricky thing, because being memorable is actually quite easy in that sense. It's not a difficult thing. But being remembered in a good way, that is the difficult thing.
That you can walk in butt naked into a meeting and be remembered.
Yeah, as in, say every meeting I went to, I pissed in the corner of the conference room. That was just my thing. I just took a leak in the corner of the conference room. And
you'd definitely be memorable. Without a doubt.
But not someone you want to work with. Not someone you'd want to say, let's get him back into the office. We need to see more of him.
Yeah, that would not be the first instinct. That's true.
Kunal, why should listeners subscribe to Our Last Week?
Because they get to share their conundrums and we get to read them out and try and solve them on this show.
Honestly, our listeners' conundrums are infinitely better than our conundrums.
Much.
They understand the show better than we do.
They should be doing the show.
I think we've created a Frankenstein.
We should be paying them.
Yeah.
Actually, we are paying them in a sense.
We are. Well.
No.
But what they can do is go to patreon.com/Our Last Week
and subscribe
and become a patron and subscribe
and
send us their conundrums so we can talk about how great their conundrums are, almost better than ours.
Yes.
Kunal, I've got a fun friend. I've got a friend that I really want to hang out with. He's loads of fun, and he's knowledgeable and witty and sharp, and like sends me funny little things from Instagram, and just somebody I just really like. But that friend doesn't have that much time for me. But then I've got a dull friend, this guy who's just a moron, and he's like religious and boring and watches things I have no interest in and stuff. Now he is constantly in touch with me. And the point is, I'm constantly in touch with my fun friend who I want to spend more time with, me. But my fun friend keeps sort of saying they're busy because they're fun. So there must be other people wanting to hang out with them. And so because I have downtime, because my fun friend is not hanging out with me, I'm forced to, out of boredom, reach out to my boring friend. So my conundrum is, what do I do in this situation? How do I tell my fun friend, please respond to me quickly and hang out with me, because otherwise you're throwing me in the arms of the boring friend. Just because I need to do something with my time.
This is a tough one, yeah. This is a tough one because
Yeah, this is tough.
yeah,
Tough.
this is tough. You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sometimes when you're analyzing who you like to spend time with and who you want to this thing, very rarely do you think of yourself as one of the, how much fun am I, or how,
Yeah, you're the neutral. You're always neutral, right? Because
Yeah.
as an assessor.
And I
of
guess that
yourself.
all of
Yeah.
us think that we are good to be around. Most people
Yeah.
think that, right? Like we're nice to be around. Where, like, I think we think of ourselves as someone who can be entertaining, or that we have a nice conversation. We don't bitch too much. We don't. I don't know. Generally, I mean, when we think of ourselves, we don't. So, like, how
Always
much
in the
fun,
best light.
in the
Like,
best light. Yeah.
We are always in the best light. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I don't know, like sometimes, like I'm wondering, like how easy or hard is it to spend, like I'm trying to think how easy or hard would it be to spend time with someone like me.
I guess you can find out from texts and messages, like, who wants to hang out with you.
Nobody.
Yeah, I get no messages. You get no messages. We barely want to hang out with each other. So
yeah.
so the thing is, we don't even know where we stand with each other or ourselves.
Yeah,
So are we fun? Are we boring? I don't know.
I think I'm boring. I think I'm pretty boring.
Yeah, pretty
but
boring. Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty boring.
I've
and
seen some evidence. Yeah.
And I think that I would find it very difficult to hang out with me. Like that's
Yeah.
the main thing, that I think that I'd think of myself as quite an asshole, like if I was to hang out with myself.
Yeah. But once in a while, you'll have like a piece of information, like you had a little bit of a Instagram video of Orson Welles, which
Yeah.
was good.
That was good.
Like, and for those 3-4 minutes, you had currency. You were interesting.
Yeah.
Because I told 2-3 people that Kunal has this little video of Orson Welles.
Yeah.
And that sort of that kind of made you interesting because you had that video for a short while.
But that's what most people have to do now. They have to find the right videos, find the right images, find the right articles. That is now that is the determination.
That's the key.
That's the key. What is the most eclectic thing that I can forward to other friends so that I can seem interesting?
Arey, forget this thing about the Queen. Kunal, send me this video. Just see this video. Kunal, send me this thing.
Yeah.
So that otherwise, say, like, earlier it was conversation. Are you good at, say, tennis or my favorite currently, badminton? That those things made you interesting. Like, arey, go for a drive with Kunal. He's great on a drive. Yeah, he's great fun. His music collection is amazing. But those things, I guess, are no longer ways to be interesting, right?
He's got the best songs, or he's got the best music, or he knows about this. I don't know. All that is gone because it doesn't matter what a person knows. I also know it. It's on my phone also. But what have you accessed, and now what are you sending me? What
do you have?
What have you got?
Your
what have
value
you curated today for me? That is
correct. Because we've been friends for about 20 years, long time now.
Yeah.
And we are driving in a car, and you had access to this very funny, very interesting Orson Welles video about the nature of artistic collaboration,
which
and
I have nothing to
immediately-
do with. That is something I happened to see.
No, something you saw, and suddenly you became a different person in my eyes, because I could then forward that onto other people and be interesting,
Yeah.
right? And then I asked you for it. You sent me the video, and your value quadrupled in terms of interest in my eyes, because first I was like, oh, amazing! Look at the things that Kunal watches, and then I come out looking good because I forward it onto other people,
Yeah.
And they think, wow, Pal is so interesting. Look at what he listens to and watches. You know, so I then live off. So I've become interested. Now, you may have got it from someone else.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
your credo has increased.
But I'm saying, isn't that absurd? It's like
Yeah.
like. But see, I guess earlier people would talk about like books they read or films they watched or music they liked or sports events or whatever or politics or whatever it is, and then they'd find some commonality and then bitch about it or argue or have fun arguing, and that would be friendship. But I guess here now it's become, you know, I've got these great links. You know, like I've got this.
Yeah.
I
Because
follow the
every
best
other
people,
thing-
and I know where you get the best. But I'm saying it's like, what about you? Like, where are you in all of this? So then you are just a funnel for other things. Then you're just a funnel for other people's videos
Full funnel. Yeah. Because whatever you have to say, you've said in life. You know, you're in your 40s. Everyone
Yeah.
knows who you are, your general worldview.
It's done. It's
now
over.
it's like, now what? You are a pipe now. You're not a person. Like,
You're
what
a
can you
pipe.
pass on?
Yeah.
You're a pipe. You're a pipe. Kunal, this has been our last week.
It has.
You are Kunal Roy Kapoor. I am Anubhav
Some
Paul.
guy.
You can subscribe to us. You can be part of our Last Week family. I won't say "ooh" or whatever I usually say. I'll just say our Last Week family by going to patreon.com/our Last Week.
Yes.
Yeah. You can do that and get episodes early, plus all sorts of cool things. Or just listen to us wherever podcasts are found. Or wherever we are found. If you can find us somewhere in the world and say, just give us conundrums, we will not do that, but you can try.
Yeah.
The best place to find us is patreon.com/our Last Week.
So please do subscribe and see you next week.
And do something by which people remember you. Without urinating in the corner of a room.
If you can, yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
You were listening to Our Last Week, produced by Rajesh Tahil and Avdut Khanolkar, hosted by Anubhav Pal and Kunal Roy Kapoor, assistant producers Akansha Kadam and Rahul Vaswani.